Hey, what's happening, guys? It's Brady Joker here. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing what I watched in August ranked. Yeah, I'm sorry I did not do what I watched in July. I wasn't really feeling very motivated, and like I said in my music video, my 100 albums ranked, if you saw that, I was feeling a bit burnt out on not only watching movies, but also kind of making these videos monthly. It was kind of just getting a little boring to just kind of come on here and talk about movies and then edit me talking for 20 minutes. But I'm doing it now, not because I really want to, but because there are some actual masterpieces that I kind of need to talk about. So yeah, today we're going to be doing what I watched in August ranked. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, coming in at number 8 for the worst new movie I watched is Trap. This was just not very good in my opinion. It was all right in moments, and I think it got better as it went along because I think the acting and the script in the first half was so bad. It was so bad, and the acting was so forced. But the lead actor, I think, just kept getting better and better as the movie progressed. The movie is also incredibly predictable, but I do really actually like the concept of the movie. The concept's pretty good, but it really just wasn't anything that special in my opinion. Number 7 is Tommy Boy. This is a pretty typical comedy movie if you've ever seen a comedy movie. It's got some funny moments, but honestly, it wasn't that funny. It was, you know, it had its moments. It's, again, incredibly predictable in every single way. But, you know, it was fine. It was, you know, it was a comedy. Like, it was a comedy. It was a feel-good little movie, but wasn't that great. All right, number 6, Call Me By Your Name. This was a very slow movie. Just very, very slow paced in almost every single way. It was just boring a lot. Also, I find it really weird that they did not really mention the age difference like once in the entire movie. It was like, oh yeah, this is really wrong. And then it was like over from there. It was like it wasn't mentioned again. The acting was pretty good. The dad gave one of the best final monologues I think I've ever seen. And it's been a while since I've seen a monologue that damn good. It was really good. Chalamet was good, but you know, it was a sweet movie, I guess. It was just not really my thing. It was, again, pretty boring. Way too long. Number 5 is Shattered Glass. This is a pretty low-key underground movie that was pretty darn good about this reporter who fabricated a lot of his stories. And, you know, Hayden Christensen, I know he gets a lot of hate for being such a garbage actor. But honestly, he wasn't that bad in this movie. He was actually pretty decent. But yeah, I mean, it was a pretty standard little biopic about this dude. How psychotic he was. He was one of the most easy to hate people in any film ever, which is why I think it's written and played pretty darn well. It was just a pretty good, enjoyable movie. I liked it. I really did. All right, number 4 is Airplane. This was so funny, dude. This is one of the funniest comedies, which if you know me, you know I don't really like comedies all that much. But this one was so funny. It's literally my type of humor. It is dry. It is dad jokes. It is just so funny. And then I know there's a bunch of softies who watch this and are like, oh my God, it's so offensive. It's like, grow up, dude. It was made like, what, 1980? People loved it then. Just love it now. It's a product of its time. It's hilarious. It's funny. It's fun. The movie is not serious at all, and yet it's so enjoyable. It's so enjoyable. So many just quotable lines that is just like stuck with me for like my favorite line. One of my favorite jokes was, Shirley, you must be joking. Well, I'm not joking, and don't call me Shirley. Like, how do you even think of that? It's hysterical, it's amazing, and I love it. All right, number 3 is going to be Uncut Gems. I finally got around to watching this, and this was one of the most intense watches of my life, especially as we got into the third act. Once the third act hit, this movie was like an adrenaline rush for like 30 minutes. It was like, oh my God. leading to like one of the most shocking, one of the best endings I've seen in a while. But other than that, man, Adam Sandler gives a fantastic performance here. I know his real only two serious roles is this and Punch Drunk Love, and of course I'm always going to prefer Punch Drunk Love because of my bias towards that movie. It's literally in my top 10, but darn, he was really good here. In fact, everyone did great here. This was just edge of your seat, super interesting, super different, super chaotic movie. I don't think I've heard this many curse words in my entire life. It's just so good, man. Great movie. Number 2, however, for me is Good Time. I prefer this one over Uncut Gems because they're directed both by the Safdie brothers, but I think I prefer Good Time just a little bit more just because of the kind of surreal, visceral, nightmare tone and atmosphere this movie gives off with the vibrant colors, the shots. It's just, it engaged me a bit more than Uncut Gems. As well as it's Robert Pattinson. It's just like, dude, it's Robert Pattinson. Like, when has this man not done something incredible? Don't say Twilight. Just, we ignore Twilight, okay? But everything else this man has done has been incredible, okay? The Lighthouse, Batman, Harry Potter, and now this. This dude's a legend. The movie is just like, I also love these movies where everything kind of happens in a single night. Like, this is gonna be in September, I recently watched American Graffiti, and that movie all takes place in a night. And I loved American Graffiti. So I really just love movies that take place in a single day or in a single night because it just makes me feel like I'm there, like I'm really there experiencing this. Very downer of a movie though. This movie is very sad, incredibly just shocking and disturbing moments throughout the whole thing, and it's just like, wow, this movie's great. Truly something that I'm kind of like dying to rewatch, to be honest. It's just it's that good. And yet, number 1, All That Jazz. This wasn't even a competition. This is my favorite movie of the year. This is far and away the best thing I have watched this year. My previous number 1 for the year was Amadeus, and now it is this. And this is the best thing I've watched all year. It's perfect in every single way. Many things about it. The performances, Roy Scheider goes absolutely ham on this performance. The dance scenes, the choreography, the shots, the lighting, and the editing. The editing in this movie is so good. Oh my God. Also, it's incredibly vulnerable as the director is basically telling a lot of true events about his own life, which adds a whole different spin and a whole different take and darker undertone on the movie. It's incredibly influential, as I think BoJack Horseman had to have taken huge inspiration from the ending of this movie, which, speaking of the ending, it is one of the best endings and one of the best final 30 minutes of any movie I've ever seen. It is incredibly close to my top 10 of all time, but that's a very special place. But top 15, it's in there. It is one of the best things I've ever seen in my entire life. It's perfect from top to bottom. I am in love with this movie. So much so that I rewatched it in the same month. But I'm not going to talk about it in the rewatch because I've already talked about it here. So I also rewatched it. All right, so that's all the new watches. We're going to be taking a look at some of the rewatches. Again, we kind of go through these pretty quick since I've already talked about these in previous videos. So number 4, the worst rewatch, and I rewatched some good movies. Probably the worst one for me. So the worst rewatch was probably the Lego Batman movie. However, this is so good. One of my favorite animated movies of all time, one of my favorite comedies, never fails to make me crack up. Just so good. Also super emotional. Like, the ending still chokes me up a bit. Like, that's insane. But it really does. Like, when Bruce Wayne, when he takes off the mask in front of Robin and he calls him, I can't remember the word, but when he calls him son in Spanish, it's unbelievable. Genuinely such a fantastic movie with gorgeous animation, and it is so funny. Next up, number 3 is Primal Fear. This is a borderline 5-star for me. It is so edge of your seat. It is amazing. Performances, Richard Gere, Laura Linney, and of course, the King Ed Norton in his debut breakout performance. So incredible. I mean, he really does carry this movie on his back with his performance here. The twists and the turns, the, you know, chaotic, the intense court scenes. It is so unbelievably good. You guys know me. You guys know I love courtroom dramas. So I love this movie so much. And this was also one of the first movies that kind of got me into movies again. Like, I watched this back in like November of 2022. So I actually haven't talked about this movie. But I'm talking about it now, and I love it. It's incredible. It's so freaking good. Number 2 is Amadeus. I rewatched Amadeus. The first like 40 minutes I didn't really watch because I was listening to an album while my mom was watching it for the first time, and I was sitting there with her. But I was kind of reading the subtitles and, you know, following the movie. But then I took and I was like, okay, yeah, it's still one of the best movies ever made. It's so, I forget how well paced this movie is. It takes like this near 3-hour movie and it feels like an hour and a half max. Tom Hulce still gives like a top 10 performance of all time for me. He portrays Mozart in just such a incredible way. Salieri is also just such an interesting protagonist here, where it's just like he has so many layers as a character, and it's just so good. The film is beautiful, it's devastating, it's so much betrayal, it's so much, you know, jealousy and resentment and idolizing. It's all wrapped into one incredible film. And yet, number 1 is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I rewatched it for like, I don't know, this is maybe the 8th time. It's like still, it's my second favorite movie of all time. It's perfect. I've talked about this movie way too much. I'm not gonna talk about it more. It's literally my number 2 of all time. Boom, done. So that's what I watched in August ranked. Hope you guys enjoyed. We are gonna be doing the Apple Music list video soon. But that'll come soon. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Goodbye. Like and subscribe if you want to. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, evening, or night, or whenever you're watching this. So yeah, see you guys.